Hello everybody, ciao a tutti and welcome to Art with Ms.B. This video is for my golden members and thank you so much for supporting this channel, and I want to dedicate some special extra time to you. So I usually share so much for my profession, like I'm a teacher, I'm always sharing project ideas, I'm guiding my students, and I do the same when I do tutorials. So this like a space just for golden member, I want it to be a little different and feel a little special and definitely more personal when I work in my little studio at home, when I create stuff for my winter market, my spring market, or sometimes just because I really feel the need to create just for the sake of creating something. I kind of, it's very personal, it's a very intimate time, and I'm very like excited and happy to share it with you, because I know that you kind of not only support my channel on a different level, but probably you are kind of connecting with me also on a different level. So in these special videos is when I open the door into my studio, and I will paint on different surfaces, creating different projects, and sometimes just sharing my creative process. Where do I find a new idea? So how do I explore? I hope to be an inspiration for you. I hope to give you the opportunity to kind of spend some time just for your own persona and focusing on your own creating process, regardless the other video that you do with me with the tutorial, which are an amazing boost for creativity and boost for fine motor skills, and amazing really practices that I always encourage you to keep doing it once or twice per week, but also just to set this nice personal relaxed space, me from my home and you from wherever you are, you live, and wherever you find your special place to create and kind of share some conversation and artistic ideas. So today I'm gonna do a project, and for this project actually is a beginning of a project. I'm not really sure about the end, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna build it up together, but I got some inspirations by nature. As you know, I'm a big fan of that. And I love to play around with colors, color palette, and different media. So today I'm gonna start with a watercolor paper, just it's a 9 by 12. And the watercolor paper is pretty thick, nice and heavy. One side is just a little smoother than the other, and where you have a bigger texture, it's up to you which side you want to use. I use the one that is more textured. So I will use traditional watercolors, a pencil for drawing, and then I think that I will work with also some alcohol markers and some black outlines. I want to create a pattern on pattern. My inspiration is from the nature, and for this project in particular, a little bit of something that I did in the past already, and about the Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama, which really fascinate me. And so this is like the initial inspiration. We're gonna do a part of the project today, and then I will keep doing and recording these videos that I, when I'm in my studio, so I can kind of keep creating with you. So I'm gonna switch to the camera and we can keep doing this. So this is my watercolor paper. As you see, it's pretty nice and thick. If you don't have a watercolor paper for today, you can definitely do it on a mixed media paper. I'm gonna try to use the space as much as possible and as well as possible, because paper is expensive. I'm gonna start to draw some very whimsical, pretty big mushrooms with my pencil. So I know that I want to do something with a lot of mushrooms at one point. I just don't know what is going to be exactly and how I will incorporate the mushroom that I am about to create into this project. I just know that it's something that is going to happen. So first I just set the outlines. I'm gonna have a variation in sizes, a little bit in shapes, so it's gonna be a little more fun, and it's gonna give me more opportunity actually to create something out of those I'm thinking maybe a pendant with a natural wood and all of these ones that they are painted. At that point, they need to be painted probably both sides. We'll see. Or an amazing collage. Why not? And you know, sometimes I have a couple of days that probably happens to you as well. I have a couple of days which really, when I don't have any new idea, and then I got instead few days when I'm boom, 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 boom. Like I have so many ideas that I just need more time. And time, something that I treasure very much because I never have enough. And unfortunately, as I used to say, I still need to sleep 7-8 hours per night. So I'm using this space. I don't care about the background. If you want to add a few more, do so. Because my intent, I think, that is gonna just be like painting, decorating them, and then at the end cut them out and have them ready. And then I will keep building other elements because I think that the direction that I'm taking is a collage. So now I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna paint with traditional watercolors. Really free yourself, like I'm gonna spontaneously choose a palette. Of course, it doesn't have and it won't be realistic. So feel free to do the same. Sometimes when I'm not teaching in school, so I don't have to formally teach the color theory or to formally respect the realistic application of colors. I really kind of approach the color wheel in a very, very spontaneous and personal way. I just look at the palette that I have available, and without thinking too much, I'm gonna see the colors that attract me the most, and I'm gonna start to use it. And then I will build around that colors as well. I just feel that some people, of course, art is something so personal, right? So what I like might be completely opposite and different than what you like, and vice versa. I just feel that personally, because I have to teach, formal training in drawing and painting, the color wheel, how do we make a tint, tones and shade, what is value, how do we apply to create as really like a realistic drawing or painting. When I do my own things in my studio, I really want to forget all of it and I want to just feel free to use the color in a very spontaneous, natural, and once again, not realistic way. So I invite you to do the same and think about it. What are the sensation, like the feeling that you want to feel while looking at these pieces? You want them to communicate a sense of calm and peace, a sense of joy or energy, and you will make those choices about the color really spontaneously. So sometimes it's like when we study and we take many classes, and so we become very knowledgeable about a topic or a subject or a technique. Of course, it's very good, right? Because it makes our practices more, didn't like not better, just like and not even more valid. I want to find another word, but probably that they have a little more purpose, just because we know exactly what are we doing and how do we do it. But on the other side, they also take away a little bit out of our creativity, because we feel that we have to respect those rules, those norms, and maybe it's not what we really want to do. So I love the variation between the values. I love the variation that you get with the watercolor. So as I say, sometimes we should just approach things freely and see what happens. Mostly where we want to also relax and abandon ourselves. And as I say, we already have to control sometimes so many situations and jiggle. so many different things in our life, then maybe when it's time for us to spend some time in the studio, we should really free our mind of all these roles and obligation and just do what we want the way we want it, regardless the outcome. If the watercolor bleed a little bit into each other, perfect. Let them bleed, let them do their job, and let them surprise you. If you go a little outside, it's not a big deal. Just like I try to feel relaxed in this practice. It's not a big deal because we know that we are gonna work. I know that I will do at least. I'm gonna work on top with markers, and then I will cut them out, so I can definitely rework the outlines if I need to do so. I'm kind of imagine, like I remember when I was a child and I was reading Alice in Wonderland out of my Disney classic book, and they were illustrated picture of all these flowers becoming like animated, right, and moving and singing, and all these beautiful, like even in Snow White, in the classic Disney, you have all of this colorful, unrealistic mushroom, and it was so pretty. So that's where I'm going, like I want each mushroom to be different and to show a different palette. Because mostly when you don't know exactly what you're gonna do and create with all of these elements, it's good to keep your option open and just go a little bit with the flow. Also, mushrooms makes me think about the fall, because growing up, I remember that in Italy, the fall was like chill, more like humid, a little bit raining, and so we used to go with my aunt, one of my aunt, to pick mushrooms, for which you need to be extremely knowledgeable and qualified, by the way. And we were like picking all these mushrooms, and of course by the end of the day my basket was full of poison mushrooms. They were the prettiest one, but the one that you cannot eat. So thankfully my aunt was, you know, very committed, very careful, so she would tell us, okay, you can pick them, don't touch your face or your eyes, you fill the basket, and then you show me the basket, and I'm gonna tell you what is what and which are the ones that are good to eat, which are the ones that are poison and why. So mine were very pretty, but usually not very useful. If you want to try with different media, you don't want to paint all the mushroom with the watercolors, you can also do brush markers, alcohol markers, color a pencil if that is your thing. So remember, this is our studio time together. So I really want to encourage you to kind of more than copy what I'm doing, just maybe getting inspired, but then really bring in your personality, what you like to do. So even if at the end your project is really on the opposite side than mine, this is exactly what I hope for this studio time. It's just when we share, as I say, this is a very personal and intimate space for me. So I'm glad, and at the same time I feel a little intimidated to share it with you, because as I say, it's something really personal. So, but I hope that maybe you can listen to my voice and then maybe, oopsie, feel inspired by what I'm doing, and just find your own way to execute the whole thing, the vision, right? Which so far for me is at the beginning, because as I say, I'm still not sure what I want to do with these mushrooms, but I know that I want to do something with them. So I want to see where those watercolors will bring me. I really love when the colors bleed into each other. In my recent practice about the Mexican tiles at the Talaveras, I used the watercolors, but in that case we didn't have much bleeding because we needed to have a little more control. In this case, in fact, instead I feel that I want to play a little bit. I like to see the texture that comes from the watercolor blending, so we're gonna kind of try the watercolor a little differently this time. I'm gonna mix a dark teal and see what happens and try this color. You see, also because I'm in my studio time, I'm going to move the paper around a lot because being, you know, this is exactly what I do when I paint, right? I don't do it in my tutorial because I want to make sure that you have the best view, very clear, very neat, and so I don't move too much around. But now I'm in my studio, so I really want to show you the way that I really do. Like I'm here pretending that we are all together in the same studio, chatting with a coffee, a tea, or whatever you like. And this is exactly how I would look while painting. Nice. Oh, I forgot to add a little bottom over here. And I add it not because it's like a super accurate, but mostly because it gives me an opportunity to use another color over there. I'm gonna also challenge myself to do and use colors that I would usually want to match together. I just want to see where they go, you know, and what happens. Sometimes you have a beautiful surprises, sometimes you don't, but it's okay. Like it's the unicity of that project, right? It's the unicity of that specific element that you are painting today and not another day, right? In this very moment and in any other moment. So whatever is gonna be the result is gonna really show what you were doing in this specific moment and time. I'm gonna light it up now. I have other two. I'm gonna do one very warm for sure. I'm not applying any pressure. And now I'm gonna just dip in the brush in the water and mix and blend the two colors together and let the water work its magic. I'm gonna go with green again for the stem. Light it up, the very lime green. Dark at the bottom. The very watered darker green. even more. And create some nice texture. Now I'm gonna create a pretty dark green deal and use it for the bottom. Nice. I want to try to make it blend a little bit, just picking a little bit of water and just have it lighter over here. Pick the darker. Blend some more. Voila. And then I know that this is one of my big favorite, and so is the aqua color, so probably I'm gonna use it for this one as well. We're gonna use this dark green and teal that we created. For the stem, nice and dark. And I'm so happy that some of you finally started to share the artworks on our Facebook page, Art with Ms.B. So if you still didn't ask for joining the group, please do so, because it's so beautiful to see how each one of us has a different relationship and connection with colors, and even the same project can take so many different gorgeous forms. I'm always amazed and I'm so excited. It's something very unique, so I'm very grateful for you doing that. It's something that makes me really joyful. Now I created this light aqua color for the top of my last mushroom. I'm gonna actually add some light yellow and see what happened over here. Gonna use it pretty nice and wet. So I really want a lot of blending. So I'm gonna alternate this nice light aqua color with a very light yellow. And once again, let the water do its job. Nice. Now we're gonna get a nice dark, maybe pink. And we're gonna break this cold palette with something very bright and more on the warm side. And now these are my mushrooms all painted, so I'm gonna let these dry completely. This should be dry. I tap. I'm gonna remove on the side my watercolor, and I'm gonna start to do some outlines and then play with some patterns and some lines. I'm gonna remove my bracelet because they are bothering me a little bit. There you go. You can do the same. You can decide to do it in another color that is not black. You can decide to have bold lines instead of extra fine lines, depending on what you want to accomplish or what you want to experiment. Because every time that we sit down in the studio, so sometimes I want to say that My process might look different time to time, depending if I have to paint something. I usually do a small version, like a draft in my journal. Then I paint the piece on my canvas paper. So I have a pad with canvas paper that is extremely good for acrylics. And then I finally paint on the surface the final. And at that point, it's pretty much all settled. Of course, I always allow myself to change things, you know, add something, modify something, but I know where I'm going. Sometimes it happens just like this. I have a little idea and I say, you know, I think I want to try to do this, even though I'm not sure for how I'm going to connect all of these elements together and other elements that I will create. But maybe I have this idea, and little by little along the way, this idea kind of clarifies into my mind, and I know exactly what I want to do. So now today I just know that I wanted to do this colorful mushroom, and I wanted to play around. And I definitely will do something that is gonna be textured, right? Because once we cut those out, they will have their own texture. The implied one, which is the one that the watercolor gave on the paper, the illusion, right, of the texture, that I am supporting also with these patterns. And the real one, because they will have their own thickness or thinness with the paper. So, we'll see, we'll see. That I think that I will switch to the big Sharpie, and I'm going to try to do some patterns. So I'm gonna do like a gradient scale from big and to smaller. So far, and then probably I will play with both. So I'm gonna divide this into sections. And inside those sections, I can recreate something like that goes from big, the smaller, smaller, and do it again. Big, medium, smaller. I'm going to color them inside with the black. I just wanted to have the outlines so I could control better the size of the circles. They don't have to be perfect. Remember, this is like a freehand, which is what I like. This is how I like to do things. If you want to use something because you want perfect geometric shapes, you know that you probably have to help yourself with some specific tools. switch to this one. Now will allow me to do faster. Now I'm gonna go back to my extra fine. I'm gonna keep doing stuff. I want those mushrooms to be really, really, really patterned. So I'm gonna play around with different type of lines, different alternations of lines, and just try to not overthink the process, but just like try to embrace it and let the design talk to me. Pointillism doesn't come easy to me. It tends to, I feel like a little frustration, I want to say, when I do it. Like I feel that is really annoying me, but I also discovered that it's really good for my fine motor skills, mostly brain-hand coordination, and it's beneficial. So once in a while, or as often as I can, I incorporate those dots and pointillism into my practice. Also because I love dots and circle and whatever, like every pattern that has those elements in it. It's just that I used to struggle to commit in creating a pattern, a project that featured a lot of tiny dots or bigger dots or whatever. But as I say, it comes with its challenge and with its benefit. And so I am pushing myself. And I tell myself, oh, that would look so good. Yes, but you will need so much time and focus. I say, well, we can do this, right? And if we have to take a longer time, we are going to take a longer time, which it's another thing that sometimes I struggle because I'm so efficient and very organized all the time. And I also have so many things to jiggle and to do that I want sometimes everything done in time and blah, blah, blah. But then I feel kind of also stressed and tired. And I try my best. Art definitely helps me to say, no, it's okay, you can take more time, and if you need to work more day on the same, you can. You're gonna figure it out. It's okay. Not everything has to be done, all done, all the time, very quickly. There you go. I want them like more dense on the bottom and top and almost nothing over here. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I'm gonna go on and I will do it on my second mushroom. Gonna do my outlines. Spending time in a studio, or even like if you don't have a studio but you have your corner and you're spending your time in just creating something for the sake of creating something, it's always such a beautiful feeling. And the difficult thing is just showing up, like say, okay, no, today I'm gonna sit down, and even if I have other 20 different things to do, I'm gonna spend time in the studio because I want to create something. Sometimes that something is for a specific purpose, sometimes it's just because you want to create, and this is how I think we should do it. It's difficult to find the time sometimes and to commit. So the hardest part sometimes is just to gather materials, sit down, set yourself a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever you like to drink, set your materials, and just using my video or even by yourself, just do it. So if you're creating something with me, or you're watching this video for inspiration and then you're gonna do it, I'm so proud of you, because I know that is not easy at all. So in this case, we're gonna do instead, I think, just a big spread out black dots. And then I am creating a sort of a frame around the circle. Just to add another variation, like that. And now for something over here, probably, let's try to change the directions. Probably gonna put it like that because it's more natural to me. Left-handed love to work in vertical. For us, sometimes it just makes more sense, which means that we have to move around the paper a lot. And now that I'm in my studio with you, I feel free to do it, so I'm very happy. Very nice. I'm gonna do one more for today, and then maybe I'm gonna leave these other two for another time when I will do other stuff, but maybe we'll see. I'm gonna keep going because, you know, you don't have to stick, you know, with me for the whole time or the whole video. Remember that you got to do you. You can watch it and speed it up the video and then practice at your own convenience. So just kind of take something out of this practice, or you can practice with me little by little, which means that you can divide the same practice into 2-3 sections, right? There is no need to rush. You know your schedule, you know your ability to focus and stay committed, but sometimes also not the ability, but the opportunity to stay committed, right? So you know what is best for you, and I always encourage you to use my video in a way that they really can fit in your schedule and in your lifestyle, so they will support your creativity, and they won't be an obligation or something that, you know, doesn't resonate with you. And once again, we don't have to finish one practice or one project in one time. Sometimes we do, because we have the right conditions to do so. Sometimes we don't, and we take 3, even 4 times. It's perfect. In the meanwhile, looking at these beautiful colors on my paper, I just feel very happy. Which means that this, just for this reason only, that I feel very nice, happy, and relaxed, means that it was worth it. And it was exactly what we were meant to do today. Let me see. Maybe I don't want to do too many lines, because I did a lot of lines here, which I love. So probably I think that I would do, once again, measure my patience and prove my patience through very tiny dots. That I will spread on the top of this mushroom, and then maybe I will improve the quantity and the density in some area. I want to have more density here, bottom and this side, and less and less and less over here. It's another way also to represent value, right, through a pattern. Sometimes we would do it with the traditional shading if you're drawing or painting. Sometimes we actually do it using a device like a dot in this case, and just change the density and the quantity of the dot and the proximity also, right, exactly in the pointillism. Oh, I feel I'm tripping. Oh, I need to shake it off. start with our friends, curved lines. I'm so obsessed with these lines. I just love to take care of the bottom of the mushroom head because I also love them in nature. Aren't they gorgeous when you pick a mushroom and then you flip it over and they have this perfect pattern, and the texture, it's so nice. So with these two mushrooms left from this page, it's time to create some cohesiveness. So I will repeat some of the elements that I used for the first three mushrooms, just because I want to have a connection in case I decided to assemble them all together somewhere. Maybe I can do a variation, so I can do this one from the top and revert basically the design. I just need to be careful because it's a smaller. And maybe, oopsie, let me do the outlines here too. Not sure if I want to do this or that. I'm gonna probably do this just different. I want to say the black and the dark yellow and orange, they are so good together. Such a nice contrast. Now I'm gonna do it like that, just with a little bit more space between the outlines, like the frame and the circle. And I'm gonna add another little element, another little pattern in this one. There we go. Really nice. Very nice. See, sometimes you don't have a specific plan, but then ideas will keep, will be, you know, will run free, they will flow. You get an idea from something, and from one more element and one more element and one more element. So one thing will bring to another in a very spontaneous way. It's just like a sort of a training for our creativity, because believe it or not, creativity can be trained, it can be taught. I see it every time with the students. I can teach creative thinking and creative approach. It's the same as like you have some foundational knowledge, but then you also need to kind of practice in order to teach your mind to set free and find inspiration and creativity in something that you didn't find creativity before, or maybe that you didn't even think about it, right? Gonna make this all black, very intense variation in the value. And then we're gonna do a nice pattern. I have many lines here. I will do dots, but I will do them a little smaller now. And I don't know if I want to leave it like that or I want to create nice lines of connection between the dots. Since it's over patterned, probably I will go for another pattern. Connect the dots. How cute. You can create as many connections as you want, right? You can connect only few of them, only one with one, or multiple, right? You can decide how busy you want a pattern, right? Oh my, really love it. I did the right choice. And for today, this is my studio time, and I'm gonna switch the camera so we can say goodbye and make an appointment for next month. Okay guys, I finished this first part of this project, which I still don't know where it's gonna go. And as I say, as it happens sometimes when I sit and I just create for the sake of creating something, sometimes I do have a precise plans because I have been doing sketches and researches. Sometimes instead I want to just kind of find some inspirations in nature, in patterns, in colors, in some amazing artists out there from the past and from the present, and I just sit down and I start the steps, right? And then the creativity and will flow and will kind of uh, initiate this process, and I will figure it out what we're gonna do, what I'm gonna do with these mushrooms. So next time we're gonna spend some more times together in the studio and with my golden members, and we're gonna keep building. I will keep building around this project and see what it's gonna turn into. So make sure that you're you have notification bell on. If you're a member, you should receive my notification nevertheless. So just make sure that you just find some nice time to spend together. I'm very grateful and thankful for every single one of you, and I wish you a wonderful day, and I see you all very soon with a special video. Ciao a tutti.